Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. All right, today we got some more 2A news for you. In this particular case, it involves our very own John Crump and also GOA. I mean, this is just, I cannot imagine how much crazier this is going to get. It's like open warfare at this point. So I want to discuss it, and this is an article on AmmoLand from Mr. John Crump himself. ATF attempts to silence gun owners of America. Well then, we're going to see how far down the rabbit hole this goes, aren't we? Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at Griffin Armament for supporting our videos. They are a veteran-owned and operated suppressor company. They have some amazing stuff going on. Their mounting systems are absolutely the best in the industry. They do some really great stuff. They have great value that they pack into their cans, awesome engineering. I love their 9mm cans. They sound so great. Their 22 cans are amazing. Definitely a great group of people. Also, their meme game is on point. Make sure you follow them on social media. They run a lot of cool machine guns in their videos and stuff. So check them out, Griffin Armament, and tell them we sent you. And a big thanks from one veteran to another for you guys supporting our efforts here on the channel and for supporting the Second Amendment community at large. Thank you guys very much. All right, we're going to get into this. In 2021, AmmoLand News published leaked documents showing that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives was using the FBI NICS system to monitor Americans without a warrant. In many cases, there was no evidence of wrongdoing. The monitoring was due to the affiliations of those being watched. The report led Gun Owners of America to file a Freedom of Information Act request for more information. In April of 2021, journalist John Crump reported that leaked ATF documents revealed the agency's involvement in a covert, warrantless surveillance program of an untold number of law-abiding firearm purchasers through daily monitoring of all firearms transactions that are processed through the NICS system, GOA writes. After a year of waiting and threats of lawsuits, the ATF would finally produce documents about the program. The documents in question would reference reasons for redactions, but the actual documentation lacked these redactions. GOA contacted the ATF to get the redacted versions of the documents to release to the public. That is when the ATF realized its error and demanded the gun rights organization destroy all the documents it possessed. I bet they would like that, wouldn't they? The gun rights organization refused. The documents were released to the gun rights organization by the ATF. GOA did not acquire the documents through any illegal methods and felt it had every right to keep and use the documents to inform the public of the unlawful monitoring of Americans. The ATF would file for a protective order against the advocacy group and try to compel it to destroy the documents and provide affidavits attesting to the destruction of the files and agreeing never to talk about them. This request is similar to what ATF lawyers tried to do to a reporter in the auto keycard case when AmmoLand News acquired a copy of the pre-sentencing report. In that case, my legal team, led by Stephen, I'm sorry, Stephen, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. I'm so terrible with pronunciation. I apologize. I know you told me a few times how to pronounce your name, but I'm not going to butcher it here in front of all these people. But he's a great guy, definitely a very confident lawyer. But they were led by Stephen and funded by GOA. They filed a motion to intervene and got the ATF to back down and withdraw the motion. He once again has been tapped to fight against an ATF gag order, but this time he was tapped by GOA. GOA argues that the law is clear. It claims that since the documents were not gathered via legal means by the organization, it has every right to keep them. GOA contends it is not obligated to help the ATF fix its mistake. The organization is willing to destroy any personal information, including social security numbers, but will not submit to a blanket destruction order. GOA claims the ATF is trying to cover up its covert surveillance program. Defendant may prefer that various details of its covert monitoring activities never see the light of day. Such a request becomes even more suspicious when the government takes or asks a court to command a nonprofit public interest organization that is repeatedly engaged in quintessential press activity with regard to the very matter at issue to destroy voluntarily disclosed government documents of a warrantless surveillance program. The government's ask here thus represents a request for a classic prior restraint that is subject to the strongest presumption of invalidity. the brief reads. The ATF claims it wants to protect the privacy of those it targets. GOA says it finds the claim ironic because the ATF's program itself is violating the privacy rights of the monitoring targets. The organization wants to share the documents with Congress. It is possible that the Bureau seeks to prevent the documents from reaching the hands of those overseeing the agency. It is a sad and ironic twist that the ATF professes its desire to protect the privacy of gun owners, considering this case involves ATF's covert surveillance program that for years has been spying on, invading the privacy of, and gathering private information about those very persons. It is more ironic still that ATF seeks to protect that information, nonprofit organizations whose mission is to protect and defend the rights, including the privacy, of gun owners against government infringement, the brief reads. GOA asked the court to prevent the ATF from infringing on the organization's First Amendment rights. It rejected the ATF's assertion that releasing the documents was not in the public's interest. AmmoLand News, for example, would use the documents to better understand the program and what groups are being monitored. The years-long battle to keep the program secret led many to ask, what is the ATF trying to hide? So you know that not only is this warrantless surveillance an issue, but there's a lot of things that have been going on with FFLs as well, right? I mean, look at all the revocations. Look at people that are getting shut down for the tiniest little paperwork error, right? We're seeing situations where obviously my FFL coalition is suing the ATF. Yes, me, and Argos Ordinance, we are literally suing the ATF right now over these crazy revocations that are very, very unfair and very strict and very unreasonable, okay? So there's also the revocations that are going on that the ATF is being weaponized to undergo and take on, okay? There's also many situations where ATF agents have been caught using their own personal cell phones to take pictures of 4473s during audits, which is not allowed. Right? There's a lot of things they're doing, right? Why do you think the 4473 has all the information now condensed on one single page? Yeah, so it's easier to get all of your information in one click without having to, take multiple pictures and keep up with all that. So, there is a lot of things going on the back end. I mean, they say, well, it's simply a database. It's not a registry. Well, guess what? If it's a database and it's searchable, it might as well be a freaking registry. So they always want to play wordsmith with this stuff. They always want to say, well, we didn't mean that because it's actually this. But look, at the end of the day, if you can pull up a database and you can search for someone's name and get an idea of like what they bought or when they bought it or any type of information that's personal, right, regarding a person and their transaction, their private transaction with the gun store, that is a registry, okay? At the end of the day, if the ATF decides one day, well, you know what, we know we're not supposed to do it, but we're just going to go and confiscate XYZ. Well, if they had a boner for you bad enough, they could literally just pull up your name and go, well, we know everything you bought through traditional means at an FFL, or they could at least discern that information. Now, it might require some deeper research, but if they have the resources to come up with that information, and they're not supposed to maintain those resources. The ATF is not supposed to maintain a registry, right? That is not allowed, okay? But if they can do it and they have the means to do it, then is it not the same result, right? Oh, well, we don't call it a registry. Well, and I mean, of course it's a registry. If you can look up people's information in a database, that's a freaking registry. I don't care what you say. So in a post-Bruin landscape, this does create some very interesting legal challenge that I'm sure, it's all going to come down the pipeline. I mean, look, what the ATF is doing right now is grasping at straws. They know that they're trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks because they know that in the long term, Bruin sets forth a very, very difficult standard for them to overcome for everything that they're trying to do. And not only that, but this even goes all the way back to the ATF just creating de facto law by saying, well, we're going to pass a ruling, and Congress didn't have anything to do with it, right? That we're going to pass, it's not a law, but we're going to pass a rule that carries the weight of law and the exact same repercussions if you're caught doing something wrong as the actual law states. And then that didn't go through Congress. That wasn't signed by the president. They're just abusing, Chevron deference. So there are a lot of things that the ATF is doing to paint gun owners in a bad light and to apply pressure to gun owners and to abuse our privacy and to violate our privacy and to abuse their power. So this is not new. This type of stuff has been going on. This is just more things that are coming to the surface that people need to be aware of. So, look, you know, keep your ear to the ground. It's very important, y'all. We have to stay on top of this kind of stuff. It's very, very important. So, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And thanks so much for tuning in. I apologize for the lack of content. I've been super busy, so we've been trying to get more videos up. We have a lot of awesome things to show you, many more videos on the way, and I appreciate your support. We'll see you soon.